Okay, what is up, everybody? My name is Brian Nichols. This is going to be my UFC 246 reaction video. I'm recording this at 12:30 a.m. Central my time, and I think we're about an hour out after the pay-per-view finish for UFC 246. In this video, I'm going to talk about the fights, overall impressions, and everything else around this card. So if currently you have not seen the results for the fights, I would pause the video and come back later because I will be spoiling it. So if you want to do that now, I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, like I said, about an hour after, wanted to make a reaction video real quick after this card. I got a couple things to say about the card. Number one, I brought some. This is my second time being at my new house here, where I had some friends over for a pay-per-view. The first event was the UFC 240, I think it's 5, the one with Kamaru and Colby at the main event. I gotta say, that one was really rough. That one was rough because the 3 title fights at the top, and probably my fault that I chose that one because there was 3 title fights, and we all know, I feel like sometimes when that happens, when we have big fights at the top, it just you don't see finishes. So that event went from, like, I don't know, 5 my time until like 1 or 1:30. It was pretty bad because my coworkers, a couple of them watch UFC, but not many, and some of their hair were like, I could see them just like it's taking forever. Today, not as bad, but I'll tell you what, leading up to the, like, for example, when we get to the fights, the co-main event between Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington, kind of a sleeper. Luckily, and then it wasn't even that. It was kind of a sleeper. Plus, then we had to have a bunch of John Anik, Joe Rogan, and Paul Felder talking for a while, and then we had to talk to Dave Bautista, and we had to talk to Jorge, and it's like, why are we killing time? Why are we not ready? Like, Holly Holm and Raquel's fight went all 3 rounds, so why are you guys not ready? But I still wish the pacing was a little quicker. Maybe if they just reduce some fights so we can just get done with this stuff a little earlier, it'd just be great. Because it's hard to get people into cards without it going super late. Because I'm almost thinking maybe for the next pay-per-view, if I do this again, maybe only have them come over just for the main card. But the problem was not only that it was, from today, it was from 6 to 11:30, so 5.5 hours. It wasn't even that. It was that it went until about 11:30 my time. The problem is some of my coworkers, I guess, don't stay up as late as I do, and other people do that watch UFC on the weekends. And I could see them kind of like sitting there, like starting to fall asleep during the Holly Holm and Raquel fight. And I can understand it wasn't the most exciting. So that's my man. I know a lot of people talk about it, and I agree with a lot of people. It's just the pacing, maybe even leading up to getting up to this point in the card for Holly Holm and Raquel. My thing was like, man, I don't know why the co-main. I think it's because of Holly Holm and her name, but let's be honest. Well, hold on, but let's not talk about it. I digress. Basically, I just want the shit to get done quicker. So, anyways, that's my first time point. Let's get into the card. Obviously, let's talk about the main event. Conor McGregor defeating Cowboy Cerrone. It looks like it was 41 seconds in the first round. KO, TKO method. What can we say about this? With it being so quick, it's hard to really pinpoint my thoughts on Conor. Obviously, he looked great. He actually got out of this fight unscathed. I'd have to look at it again, but I'm pretty sure Conor didn't get hit once. Because literally walk up, Cowboy went to hit him, and I think, or maybe Conor went to hit Cowboy. Cowboy ducked, and that's when Conor clinched, and then that's when he hit him with like 4 shoulder shots. And that's when you could see, like, stunning Cowboy backing up, and then throwing the head kick, and then I want to say it was a left straight, and then Cowboy started turning him up, and that was it. It was just like, damn. Like, obviously Conor looked good. Rough day for Cowboy. Obviously he said he'll be back. He'll definitely be back. He'll still fight. He'll be the gatekeeper for almost lightweight and welterweight. So I'm sure UFC will be calling him back, and I'm sure he'll be stepping back up to the plate. But 41 seconds for that fight. I got to say this. That was the right call on Conor's part to choose Cowboy as the returning fight. I think a lot of people counted out Cowboy. I didn't want to count him out. I really thought if Cowboy was able to wade through the tornado of round one that is Conor McGregor, I feel like Cowboy could have had a chance, but it literally took 41 seconds for the Conor to come in and wallop Cowboy. Now, I was talking to my coworker, one of the ones that does. He used to watch UFC a lot more back in the day, and I think he's getting a little more into it a little more now that I'm kind of getting him to watch some pay-per-views. I try to, like, every single fight I'll talk about each fighter to kind of give him a little bit of history if he's not familiar with them. And I looked at him since I knew he knows a little more, and I said, his name's Mark. I said, Mark, do you know what other fighters use the shoulder shots like that? He looked at me and he says, John Jones. I go, you're absolutely right. I don't see other fighters using that. Now, when Jones did it, I'm trying to think who he did it against. Oh, it was somebody up against the cage. Was it, God, how am I forgetting his name? He's Brazilian. And that was the same guy where he, Glover Teixeira. Was it Glover? I can't remember. But because the Glover fight was, oh man, it was crazy. All I remember is the shoulder. No, that was Rashad. Or was that the elbows? Man, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. But I just talk about the Glover fight between John Jones, like the way he grabbed his arm and cranked it up like this, like. Anyways, that's the only other time I can really think that somebody used the shoulder shot, and I want to say when John Jones was doing it, he was doing it up against the cage, and I think he was jumping up a little bit to do it. But Conor's, he talked about in the interview after the fight, he would kind of dip down, almost like changing levels, and then jump up and hit. And think about it, you're kind of putting your whole weight of your thighs pushing off, going against gravity, but pushing up with your body and smashing that in. If you can directly hit the nose with that. Look how much, like, space you have here compared to just, your fist and that. It's like, is this going to be the new thing? Is this the new, sidekick to the knee? Is that what people's going to do? Like, I'd almost have to go do research. Do people do this in Muay Thai? Is this even an option? Because I only mentioned Muay Thai because of the clinch. That's where it happened. They got in the clinch, and he just hit him so many times. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. I don't think I've ever seen a shoulder hit do that much damage that quickly. So, and what's also impressive is Conor said they've actually practiced that. So, I gotta say that is insane. You could still see Conor's attacks were still very precise. He was very accurate still, quick. Overall, definitely the correct choice for Conor first fight back. Now, the next question is for Conor is who's next? I mean, I was talking about before, like, just like Conor was saying, like, the title fight between Tony and Khabib is in April, and I'm still thinking about going to that. I'm not sure yet. But, I mean, we still have Gaethje sitting out there, so does Conor wait and see if the UFC will offer him the shot to whoever wins between Tony and Khabib? Or does he fight Gaethje and just get that over with and then take the title shot after that? Because think about it, Conor's unscathed. He could take a fight next month against Gaethje. Conor's already talking about he wants 3 or 4 fights this year. I think he said at least 3. I mean, he could do Cowboy, Gaethje, and then the title shot at 155. So he was also in the interview with Joe Rogan talking about how UFC making up fake belts, hinting at the old bad motherfucker belt. So maybe he's not interested in fighting Jorge. But then he was talking about, fucking 170-pound division. And of course, Kamaro's sitting there. He's pretending like he's bored. That motherfucker ain't bored. He's sitting there going cha-ching in each eye. I could see it. I could see it behind his little fake impression there. Like, obviously he's going to want that fight. Like, if Kamaru had to choose between Jorge and Conor, obviously he's going to choose Conor. Obviously. So, but again, for Cowboy, back to the drawing board. You know, he'll just keep taking tough fights. He's a tough motherfucker, and he'll be back. So, I was glad the fight, the main event, was quick. I felt like the night was going long, like I already complained about, but overall, great fight. I'm interested to see where Conor goes next. I'm interested. So that was obviously the main event. Co-main event, talked about this a little bit. Holly Holm and Raquel, again, matchmaking wise, okay, sure, match them up, but making them the co-main, it's got to be just because of Holly Holm's name. But putting her in the co-main, I want to say it's a hit or miss when it comes to Holly's fights. Some will be exciting, some aren't. I'm starting to feel like most of them are, not most of them, but more often than not, they're a little, I don't want to say boring. The attack, like, I think the crowd was getting restless to get some action, because I feel like the action in Holly's fights just diminish. Have diminished over time, and this fight didn't look any better with it basically being up to the cage. Jason Herzog, I honestly thought he was going to get him. I think that he only got him off the cage like once. I thought, again, I'm not a licensed referee. I'm not any kind of official with MMA, but with all the years that I've watched, what I understand is the refs are supposed to ask them, I don't know if it's a certain amount of time, 30 seconds, a minute, or what it is. If they're in a stationary position like that, when should the ref say something? When should the ref split them up? At what point was Jason Herzog supposed to say, hey, Holly, improve your position, since usually Holly was the one holding up the cage? Yeah, she threw a knee to the thigh. Yeah, she tried to throw one to the midsection, but she wasn't going to finish the fight that way. So I feel like that's what Jason should have been asking. Literally almost round one. Hey, improve your position, work towards a finish. Like, just kneeing the inside of the thigh is not going to finish the fight. So, I don't know. Okay win by Holly, but it didn't do anything for, I feel like, either of them. So, Raquel getting 2 losses to Holly. Raquel's back down on the board. I wonder if Raquel could possibly make 125. I don't know. But then you go down there and there's friggin' killer down there with Shevchenko. So, I don't know. We'll see. Fight before that, Aleksei Oleinik and Maurice Greene. When I was talking to my coworkers, I messed up Maurice's name. I said Maureen Grease, and I sat there and I'm like, I think my dyslexia's kicking in. Maurice Greene. That fight was interesting. Maurice obviously showing how beast he was, being able to hold on towards the end of that first round. I want to say it was like for like a minute or so. He was able to, a minute or a minute and a half, just hold that position and not get tapped. And then you could easily see, not easily obviously, but you could see Aleksei trying to land that armbar on Maurice, and he got it in there. And yeah, it was interesting how he had his, Maurice had his left knee in there kind of blocking it, but then he lifted, it looked like he lifted himself, kind of like what Paul Felder was saying. Lifted himself, and then Aleksei just locked it in. So great win by Aleksei. I mean, Maurice isn't ranked. I don't think Aleksei is ranked either. So I know people were kind of getting hyped about Aleksei a while ago. So, hey, he's got another win, kind of maybe work his way up again. He's, 42? So, granted, heavyweights, they can have a longer career when it comes to heavyweight. So, I don't feel like Aleksei's going to go anywhere. So, he was actually the underdog as well, which was interesting. Next fight, BOOM Kelleher versus Ode Osbourne. I felt like the fight with Osbourne was a little quick. I know I did see his fight on the Contender Series, and then I saw he was linked up with Kelleher. BOOM Kelleher, I know he's had, what'd he say, like 2 losses before this. I don't think he would have been cut if he would have lost this. Maybe, I don't know, but I feel like he just needs to, keep working his craft. I don't know if he'll ever be a champion. Maybe. He definitely could be. Don't get me wrong, he definitely could be. But I feel like he's definitely got a little ways to improve to get to that point. Great win. Great another win for Brian just to get back on the winning track, and I'm excited to see what's next for him. Fight before that, Anthony Pettis loses to Diego Ferreira. I was telling somebody today, I was like, I feel like Diego is almost like the dark horse in the lightweight division. Like, I feel like there almost could be a couple dark horses in the lightweight division, but I feel like Diego is easily one of them. Like, I feel like people are kind of sleeping on Diego. I could look at his record, but I'll look at it later. But he was the favorite, comes in and submits Anthony Pettis. Like, I feel like Pettis' ground game sometimes is almost as good as his stand-up game, and for Diego just to do it as well as he did against Anthony Pettis, like, hats off to Diego. Dude, he's a beast. He's a beast, and rank-wise, let me see. Is Diego actually ranked? Diego is not ranked. Anthony Pettis is ranked number 9. Now, you can take the rankings as you want, but Diego stepping up, fighting ranked number 9, Anthony Pettis. Like, what are the people doing the rankings going to do? Literally swap them out? Is Anthony Pettis going to drop off? I highly doubt it, off the rankings. But I feel like Diego is definitely going to have a number next to his name come next rankings. So, Diego is coming. I'll tell you that much. All right, let's go to the regular prelims. The top of the prelims there was Roxanne Modafferi versus Maycee Barber. Roxanne winning. Was it unanimous decision? Yeah, I think it's unanimous. This fight with Maycee, obviously she had some kind of injury. Who's to say? Sometimes I question. I don't know. I've only dabbled a little bit in sports. I wish growing up I would have done more when it came to sports, because then maybe I'd be able to relate to some of these things. But man, when I see fighters, for example, in this situation with Maycee Barber, where Roxanne goes to throw a strike at her, and like Joe Rogan was saying, it was just kind of touched her, and then Maycee was stepping back, and all of a sudden you could see something was wrong with her leg. I was like, to me, I'm like, how could you just literally step back and have an issue with your leg? Obviously, yes, there can be freak accidents, but the percentage, I feel like, of having a freak accident versus your knee is already almost at the point where it's going to have an issue, but maybe you can't tell. I don't know. Like Tony Ferguson, tripping over cable and blowing your LCL and ACL and whatever. Like, how does that happen? I've tripped. I've never done that stuff. That's why I feel like the percentage of that happening is so low. It kind of blows my mind when it happens, because I'm like, you must have been so close to already injuring it that just that little, freak move, and it just tore it. I'm not saying something's tore with Maycee, but obviously she was in pain and it affected her in the fight. So, yeah, odds makers effed up this time. Roxanne took that win home, and everybody that put any kind of money down on Roxanne walked away with some cashola on that fight. So, great win for Roxanne. I'm not sure what it does for her in the flyweight division. There's no way I want to see her fight Shevchenko. Unfortunately, this is going to be a setback for Maycee, but I'm sure she'll climb back on that ladder. She's like, what, 22? Super young. And that was the thing. When the fight was going, the whole doctor coming over and checking the leg, I was just like, this is interesting. Like, yeah, make it completely obvious there's an issue with her leg. But who's to say Roxanne may have already known? Who knows? But in my opinion, when we knew Maycee herself should have, it's hard. We don't see many fighters say, "Yup, I'm done." Like, it's super rare to see that. But coaches as well as the refs, I feel like they gotta step it up. Like, when they see something like that, they gotta say, "Hey, I understand." It's just so hard, especially when the fighters usually are the ones paying the coaches. Why would the coaches say, "Yep, you can't do it"? Because number one, they have so much faith in their fighter. They know him so well. They want him to win. They want him to succeed. Plus, they get extra money, I would assume, if the coaches win. It's like, why would they say, "Nope, you can't do it"? It's so rare to see a coach say, "What's that? You're hurt? I know you can't win it in this kind of situation. I'm calling the fight." In my opinion, that should have been done here. She is so young. Like right when she went back out after the doctors checked her leg, you could see she was completely affected by that, and her performance was going to be affected by that. And there was no way. There was no way. Maybe other than a crazy swing, knockout punch, I think Roxanne did the correct thing and go to the ground with her to make sure she didn't just get clipped and lose, because that would have been insane. Her leg basically gone, and Roxanne just gets clipped and gets taken out. So I don't know. With Macy being so young, I feel like they should have called it. Don't damage the leg any more than it already has. Okay, her goal is to be the champion, be the youngest UFC champion, like before John Jones. But why don't you make your goal to actually be champion? Okay, damaging your leg, okay, I understand, but damaging it even further to then push that out even further, like, not only did you lose and mess your leg up, the actual results, you could have just lost and had your leg just hurt right from the get-go and be like, yeah, I'm done, and just take the loss, heal up from there and move on. Now, who knows if you even have to heal up even longer because you might have hurt it even more because you fought more. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in the cage. I'm not the one to make that decision. I just feel like that's what should have been done. Who knows? Anyways, moving on. Andre Touchy-Feely, and I got to say, at least top 5 nicknames for me. God, I love it. Fighting Sadiq Youssef. This went to decision. Sadiq Youssef won the decision. What a fight. I love this fight. Dude, Touchy-Feely was feeling it towards that last round, like starting to put it on Sadiq. I assume, I haven't looked at the actual cards, the ref or the judges' cards. I'm assuming they gave the first 2 rounds to Sadiq, because it doesn't say here if Sadiq actually won unanimous or not. I'm not sure, but it was a great fight. Sadiq always coming out powerful in the beginning. Of course, his attacks slowed down in the a little bit towards the end of the second round and the third round when Andre Touchy-Feely was starting to pick it up. Feely is still a beast, man. He's still coming up, but Sadiq is obviously a beast as well. So that was a great scrap. That was one of the good gems on this card. That was a great fight. Tim Elliott lost against Askar Askarov. This fight went to a decision as well. What can I say about this one? Tim Elliott, obviously his throws were working for him a lot with his hip tosses was working great. It was interesting. Was it the third round? Maybe like halfway through the third round. The interesting part wasn't the whole Tim Elliott putting his hands down saying just punch me in the face and then I'll grab you. It was Askar actually backing away from Tim Elliott. Like, Askar is the Sambo what was he, a champion? And here's Tim Elliott about to take you down, and he's backing away from Tim Elliott. I was like, the Sambo champion is backing away from Tim Elliott. This is crazy. So maybe Askar felt something, with the way, obviously, Tim was throwing him and had him on the ground, so Askar might have been worried on that. But Askar did it right, kept away. That's what Tim wanted. Tim wanted to just get in there and grab him, and Askar did the right game plan, just stick and move, and just kept moving. And he won the fight. Tim, I mean, yeah, I guess it's fun to watch, but you're never going to win with that kind of game plan. Literally walking with your hands down, letting the dude swing at you. Like, when is that going to win you a fight? Like, I love Tim. He reps Kansas City. I live in Kansas City now, and yeah, I don't know. Something's got to change there. I don't feel like Tim's going to win fights doing that, so they need to go back and reevaluate and get back to the drawing board. But a great win for Askar. Fight before that, my boy. I know I haven't made many videos on my channel yet, but I'm telling you what, I've talked about Drew Dober for a while, and I'm telling you what, if he's not going to be champion down the line, the dude is going to be top 5. Drew Dober, I don't know what it is about him, but I see how good that dude is, and he is coming. What does Kumar like say? He's a problem. Drew Dober is a problem in the lightweight division. It's crazy because I don't think he's not a specialist, which in my opinion, I feel like being well-rounded, but plus being a specialist in one thing is like what you need to be a champion in the UFC. The thing is, I don't think Drew Dober is a specialist in one thing. I can't remember if he was a wrestler coming up. I'd have to go back and look, but every fight that I've seen Drew fight in the UFC, he's getting better. He already looks I feel like he looks a step above every time he fights. Like his competition, like he'll come in and he'll be at this, and then next fight, you know, he'll be like, I feel like he's always a step above his competition. So in my opinion, it might be a little quick. I might have to look at Drew. Let me look at Drew Dober's. Let me look at his record. I feel like Drew should have a ranked opponent next. Maybe. Let me look at his record real quick. Hold on. Let me look. Okay, so he lost to Benil Dariush. That was March 2019, so a little less than a year ago. He fought Marco Polo Reyes. He won that. That was round 1, 1 minute 7 seconds, TKO. And then now he fought Nasrat, and that was 1 minute 10 seconds, TKO. I mean, his record is 22-9. He's only been knocked out once. He's got submitted 3 times, 5 decisions against him. Let's see, who else has he lost against? Let's see, in the UFC, he lost to Nick Hine, Efrain Escudero, OAM, and Benil Dariush. Who he's beaten: Frank Camacho, Josh Berkman, Scott Holtzman, Jamie Varner. Damn, Jamie Varner? That's 2014. Wait, hold up. Drew Dober's been with the UFC since... Oh, he was on The Ultimate Fighter. Fuck, I don't even remember that. He was on Team Rousey versus Team Tate. Oh, he's on the finale. Against Sean Spencer, he lost. Then he lost to Nick Hine, and then he started getting some wins. But he kind of gets a couple wins and loses. But I feel like he's just getting better every time. I don't know. Anyways. Oh, it looks like he was actually in Muay Thai. Okay. I'll do a deep dive in Drew Dober later, but I'm telling you, Drew Dober is a problem, and he's coming. And I'm excited to see what's next for him. Moving on. Early prelims. These 2 fights were okay. They both went decisions. I wasn't too excited about those 2 fights. I'm actually going to skip those. Yeah, so anyways, not the best card, not the worst card. It definitely was pretty bad in my opinion. Like, we had a couple good fights, nothing crazy. But overall, okay. I'd give it an okay grading. So, good fight for the UFC. I'm sure the UFC, Conor and Donald and everybody got good money. Obviously, outside of that, who knows? I'm sure Holly got a good payday as well. But I'm going to call it on this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I have the comment section down below. Start hitting me up in the comments. I also have a Twitter. I should start linking that. I'll put that in the description today. If you don't want to leave a public comment on Twitter or on YouTube, hit me up on Gmail. I'll put that in there. It should be BrianNicholsMMA at gmail.com. So that's my one I set up. That's the same as my YouTube. Hit me up in there and we can talk it up. Overall, I'm going to link, I think, in that corner. I'll try to link up some of my previous videos. I did a Hot Topics on the 2 announced fights of Tyron Woodley versus Leon Edwards and the Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. Woo! I got that, and I'll link that up there, and then maybe down, I think that, yeah, because I'll do the latest one there, and then the one down here, I'll do probably, what was my other one? I won't do the preview for this card. I'll do my MMA prospects, something I'm still trying to hammer out. It's only my first one, so. Anyways, again, thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like what you saw. If you didn't like what you saw, or you have any kind of criticism, let me know. Again, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Go to bed, and talk to you guys later. Peace.